Hello readers, I'm Amy. Time for another Book It or Book It. So this is kind of my anti-haul, little bit of a haul, basically what is releasing in the next month. So we are going to talk about book releases in September. I did take screenshots before this particular video, and most of these books I will not be picking up, but there is one book that I looked up Mary Roach because I haven't seen her release anything for a while, and I was like, what is she up to? And she's releasing a book next month, and it didn't make it onto any of the book lists that I was looking at, so shame on them. But I will go ahead and start off with that one because that is what I am so excited about. She's finally got a new book coming out. So, Mary Roach is my favorite nonfiction author. She's done Stiff, which is about cadavers. She's done Bonk, which is about sex. She basically picks a topic and dives into the research. She's not a researcher on any one particular topic. She just picks a topic and goes all in, and a lot of times she'll do studies and stuff for it, or she'll partake in studies so she can be part of the research that she is talking about. And on September 14th, 11 days before my birthday, she is coming out with Fuzz, When Nature Breaks the Law, and this book is going to be about interactions between humans and animals and what happens when an animal is jaywalking. Because they used to be able to charge them and put them on trial, and I don't think they really do that anymore. But as someone who lives right next to Yellowstone National Park, I am very interested to see what she has to say about nature and the law. So that is coming out on September 14th. I love her sense of humor. It's definitely not for everyone. I've seen a lot of people being just not my kind of humor, or so I get this as someone who is on their second round of college, but there's also been some critiques of Mary Roach's work saying that she doesn't really have a thesis, and I would agree with that. She doesn't have a point that she is necessarily trying to make in each of her research books. It's more here's a bunch of research and I thought it was cool. And I'm fine with that. For what the books are, I love them. And the footnotes, this is one time where I'm going to recommend that you read those footnotes, because that is where her humor really gets me. So next book I'm going to talk about, there's going to be a lot of September 14th releases, looks like. Next September 14th release is Apples Never Fall by Leanne Moriarty. Says it should be the golden years for Stan and Joy Delaney now that they've sold their tennis academy and settled into retirement. So why aren't they happy? And there's a stranger and wondering if their father did something awful. And I don't know how I feel about this. I've loved Leanne Moriarty books previously. Big Little Lies and The Husband's Secret I loved, but then there's one The Hypnotist's Love Story, and there was one with fall leaves on the cover or something. I really wasn't into them, and I like her style and the way she has all of these different stories melt together, but her books have really tended to be hit and miss for me, and this synopsis just isn't something that really grabs my attention. Next up, also September 14th, Colson Whitehead has a new book coming out. I have not actually read any of his books yet. I started Underground Railroad, and I was just not in a place to be reading that at the time. It wasn't grabbing me. I would like to read Colson Whitehead eventually, but he is coming out with Harlem Shuffle, which whenever I read the name Harlem Shuffle, it reminds me of the Harlem Shake. Man, what a time. What a time. Anyways, 1960s Harlem. Ray Carney has a reputation as an upstanding used furniture salesman. Although Ray strives to live up to what he knows he can be, times aren't like they used to be, and he occasionally supplements his income with a side gig, fencing items for the underworld of Harlem. When Ray's cousin ropes him into being the fence for a heist gone wrong, Ray finds himself caught up with shady cops and local gangsters. That sounds interesting. I don't know what fencing means in this context, or what it means to be a fence. Interesting. I might check this one out. I've been looking to try Colson Whitehead at some point. Lisa Jewell also has a new book coming out on September 7th. I read one of her books, and it was interesting enough. She's not like gonna be a favorite thriller author for me or anything, but like I hear she does decent. This is called The Night She Disappeared. One night in 2017, a teen mom has her mother watch her baby girl so she can attend a party in the nearby woods, only to disappear without a trace. 2 years later, Sophie is wandering the woods near her boyfriend's new job as a teacher when she finds a note attached to a tree saying, "Dig here." Interesting. I might give Lisa Jewell another try and pick this up. Like her other one that I read, it was like the family mystery one. It was really interesting. Like I said, she's not a favorite, but I would read that synopsis. Sally Rooney also has a new book coming out. I want to do a video talking about Normal People and like a couple of other books I read where I thought I liked it and I look back and I really didn't enjoy myself that much. I read Normal People by Sally Rooney, and looking back, I'm like, it really wasn't that great for me. I think her writing is really good, but there was so much back and forth in the story, and I just found it exhausting. I am not at all into relationships that are super back and forth. I don't want the Ross and Rachel relationship. I want the Monica and Chandler relationship. Healthy relationships, to me, are just so much more interesting and awesome to watch. And the Ross and Rachel relationship to watch in books and movies is just exhausting. And I'm like, you're either together or you're not. Pick a side. Personal taste, personal opinion. But Sally Rooney is releasing a new book. It's called Beautiful World, Where Are You? On a whim, Alice, a novelist, invites Felix, a warehouse worker she just met, to travel Rome with her. Meanwhile, while recovering from a breakup, Alice's best friend Eileen begins flirting with Simon, a childhood friend. And that's all it says for this summary. The rest of it is Sally Rooney's one of the best known new authors or authors of new adult novels, blah, blah, blah. Kind of selling it, not really talking about the summary. I'm not going to read this. I've talked about like maybe picking up some of these books, but it would be, you know, from my library. Fuzz is the only one that I did. I don't know if I mentioned that. I pre-ordered Fuzz. I'm getting that book. Haley Mills has a memoir coming out. I think this looks interesting. I don't think I'll read it because I don't know that I've actually watched anything with Haley Mills in it, but in case you don't remember, Haley Mills was in the original Parent Trap movie, and her memoir is called Forever Young. It is coming out again on September 7th, and it's just, you know, going to be talking about her life as an actress. So if you're interested in memoirs, if you're interested in celebrity memoirs, or if you just really like Haley Mills, you should probably pick this one up. Iron Widow. I have been hearing so much about this book. I might pick it up eventually. This is by Chirin J. Zhao, I think is how you would say it. I've been looking at more Chinese names lately, so I'm hoping that I'm kind of getting the hang of saying them. This is out on September 21st, 4 days before my birthday. This is the one, everyone on Twitter is like, pre-order Iron Widow, and I think it's a young adult, which is kind of what holds me back. But it says Pacific Rim meets The Handmaid's Tale in this blend of Chinese history and mecha science fiction for YA readers. So I might not pick this up, but I'm interested to see what people think about it. It says the boys of Wuxia dream of pairing up with girls to pilot chrysalises, which are giant transforming robots that battle the mecha aliens that lurk beyond the Great Wall. It doesn't matter that the girls often die from the mental strain. When 18-year-old Zetian or Zishin, something like that, offers herself up as a concubine pilot, it's to assassinate the ace male pilot responsible for her sister's death. But she gets her vengeance in a way nobody expected. She kills him through the psychic link between pilots and emerges from the cockpit unscathed. She is labeled an Iron Widow, a much feared and much silenced kind of female pilot who can sacrifice boys to power up chrysalises instead. So it looks interesting. I might read it. I'm not sure yet. Naomi Novik on September 28th is coming out with The Last Graduate. This is her second book in her Scholomance series. I have not read the Scholomance series yet. I am going to eventually. I read Uprooted, which was fine. And then I read Spinning Silver, which I hear about a lot of people who have read Uprooted and were disappointed, which I get. And I've not heard about a lot of people reading Spinning Silver. If you're going to read one of those two Naomi Novik books, read Spinning Silver. It's phenomenal. So I'm definitely going to pick up the Scholomance series when it's done. I don't really reach for unfinished series, especially like Brandon Sanderson's new series. I want to read it, but I'm not going to read 4 1,000-page books in an unfinished series and then wait for the next book to come out and then reread 4 1,000-page books plus the 5th 1,000-page. I'm not going to do that to myself. I have too many other books to read. I'm going to wait until the series is done. Then I will be reading the whole thing. I'm probably honestly going to buy the whole series because I think I'm going to love it. But anyways, Naomi Novik, I am going to purchase this series when it's done and read it through because I am really interested to see some of her other work. I'm also interested, I haven't seen anyone talk about this on BookTube, but she has another series that's like, is it 9 books? And they're about dragons or something, and I'm like, I want to read that. Naomi Novik has kind of got me. I think I'm gonna be purchasing a lot of her books in the future. Vanderbilt, this one caught my interest. I went to the Vanderbilt mansion right after senior year of high school when I went on a trip with my grandparents. It was gorgeous. I love looking at the old mansions. I love learning a little bit about these historical families. I don't remember who it was in the Vanderbilt family, but a couple of them had bought tickets onto the Titanic, which is also something I love reading about. And they ended up canceling the tickets within like a day or two before it left, so they were almost on the Titanic. They're Vanderbilts, they probably would have survived, let's be honest. This is Vanderbilt, The Rise and Fall of an American Dynasty, and the other reason I mention this book is because it is written by Anderson Cooper. I have not really watched Anderson Cooper, but this is going to be releasing on September 21st, and I know he's a very popular journalist, so if you're a fan of Anderson Cooper, check this out. Also, what I didn't realize, it's about, like, you know, the Vanderbilt family, but also Anderson Cooper is a great-great-great-grandson of the Vanderbilt family. So maybe I'll pick this up eventually. I'm iffy on history books. I like learning about history, but actually sitting down to read an entire book is usually just not that interesting for me. But we'll see. A Dream of a Woman by Casey Plett. This is coming out on September 21st. This one I mentioned because I started Little Fish by her. Casey Plett is a transgender woman. The summary of Little Fish sounded awesome. When I started reading it though, it was so much dialogue that I wasn't really into. I don't love dialogue heavy writing. I want more like storytelling writing. But this is a series of stories that has a wonderful cover. So I'm not entirely sure what all the stories are about. I don't think it really mentions it, but if you are into reading some short stories, if you want to support a trans woman author, pick it up. Certain Dark Things by Sylvia Moreno Garcia is being released on September 7th. For any of you who are fans of Sylvia Moreno Garcia, pick this up. I read Mexican Gothic. It was fine. I had like a decent time. I wasn't super into the end of it. But I like her writing well enough. Again, this is a really cool kind of graphic cover. I'm into it. It says, "Welcome to Mexico City, an oasis in a sea of vampires," which, you know me and vampires. Maybe I will read this. Domingo, a lonely garbage collecting street kid, is just trying to survive its heavily policed streets when a jaded vampire on the run swoops into his life. Adel, it's A-T-L. Adel, the descendant of Aztec blood drinkers, is smart, beautiful, and dangerous. Domingo is mesmerized. Adel needs to quickly escape the city, far from the rival narco-vampire clan relentlessly pursuing her. Her plan doesn't include Domingo, but little by little, Adel finds herself warming up to the scrappy young man and his undeniable charm. Okay, 2 more books here. So yeah, I might pick that up. Empire of the Vampire. Empire of the Vampire is being released on September 14th. If you are not caught up on all of the news of Empire of the Vampire, I'm not either. There's been a lot of drama. Jay Kristoff has come out as kind of a shit person, but I am interested in reading this. But I haven't read anything by Jay Kristoff before, and like, if I read an author and they eventually come out as problematic, depending on how I feel about their work, I might continue to read them through like used books or something. But I haven't started with Jay Kristoff yet, so it's like, why bother starting? And I haven't been interested in any of his previous stuff. But again, vampires. Very into vampires. But I'll probably skip this, just because I don't even want to start on that. And this is going to be the last book. TJ Klune has another book coming out. I want to say was TJ Klune the one who wrote Cerulean Sea that was super popular? This is coming out on September 21st. It's Under the Whispering Door. Wallace suspects he really might be dead. Instead of leading him directly to the afterlife, the Reaper takes him to a small village. On the outskirts, off the path through the woods, tucked between the mountains, is a particular tea shop run by a man named Hugo. Hugo is the tea shop's owner to locals and the ferryman to souls who need to cross over. But Wallace isn't ready to abandon the life he barely lived. With Hugo's help, he finally starts to learn all about the things he missed in life. When the manager, a curious and powerful being, arrives at the tea shop and gives Wallace 1 week to cross over, Wallace sets about living a lifetime in 7 days. I haven't read Cerulean Sea yet. I want to. Under the Whispering Door sounds awesome, and also there's a tea shop, so why wouldn't I read it? But that is going to be it. We have some pretty interesting looking September releases. Probably not going to read most of them, but I'm at least intrigued, which is why I mentioned them. Otherwise, this video wouldn't be interesting. But if you have a September release that you're excited about that I haven't mentioned, please leave it in the comments down below or let me know how you're feeling about these books. So please like, subscribe, be my friend on social media. I will see all of you in my next video. Bye, friends.